Good evening, and welcome to Outside of the Grid, a podcast by Brad Barfield and Donald Hensley, where we have extraordinary conversation with so-called ordinary people that you meet driving down the street or in the stores, but you don't know their backstory until you learn it here, way out here, outside of the grid. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mister Anonymous Trucker, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And how about you out there, my interviewer, my fellow interviewer? Can you hear me?
Yeah, he just fine, man.
So everybody knows that I've been wanting to get this guy on here for a long time because this guy's America. I mean, this guy's like, I've known this guy not as long as I've known Donald, but for a long time. I've watched what he's done. And I'm not going to mention his name. If he wants to mention his name, he can. But on Outside the Grid, we give everybody a chance to just to tell the story. What we call ourselves is like this place where, quote unquote, ordinary people tell extraordinary stories. And this guy right here, and I'm not even saying his name. I'm calling it Anonymous Trucker. This is the guy that's done all kinds of things and has seen all kinds of places and I'm glad to have him on this show. So, what are you going to tell us about an Anonymous Trucker to start off? What you got to say for us? What you been thinking about? What you seeing out there on the road?
Right now, I'm looking at the back of a truck stop.
What exactly does that mean?
Well, I'm sitting parked behind one right now, and watching people running in and out like ants.
It's busy out there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, even on a Sunday.
So you just out on the road, you just taking your little break before you call it a night, or you just get back on the road and get moving, or what?
I've been moving about all day until I had a blowout, and I'm on my trailer, so.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you know how it is. You got to make hay while the sun is shining, and a blowout, well, the sun ain't shining right now.
Yeah, well, in the trucking industry, we go to Margaritaville a lot.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
On my flip flop. Yeah, man. No, that song isn't. Yeah. I love that song though, man. That's a cool song. But now you do have to be cool out there because, as I understand it, I mean, you're driving sometimes maybe even up to 3,000 miles a week if you're in a team situation. That's a lot of miles to roll.
Well, actually, in a team situation, when me and my wife were driving, we would pull up to about 7,000 miles a week.
7,000 miles a week?
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of America right there, brother.
We could go from Jersey to California and back to Jersey in a week.
Yeah, that's some hard driving. Like I said, I know it makes it easier. Like I say, you got if you got a sleeper or something like that stuff. But man, that's still good. Hard driving.
And you got to pass a drug test too. They're like, you can't smoke pot or nothing while you're out there, can you?
No, you can't.
And even Margaritaville's got to be, in that rest time after the 8 hours of driving. As required by the DOT standards.
Yeah, you get 11 and 14 on federal DOT. That's 11 hours drive.
Gotcha.
14 hours on duty.
I knew they had thrown some restrictions. I just wasn't sure what they were.
Now in Texas, we have it special though. We have 12 and 15 Texas time. We got 12 hours of drive and 15 hours on duty time. So
Texas is a special place, man. It's in Texas.
It's definitely special. You're adding more hours to the day than possible, but you got to cross that timeline over somewhere. So.
Oh yeah, sometimes I've been in Texas all week though. As long as I stay in Texas, I stay on Texas time. So if I cross over, that's when I go into that federal DOT thing. And
but that's a state regulation. I got you. But now you I've known you for 20-something, 30, 40 maybe years. And like the years you've been driving, though, Man, I mean, I've talked to you while you were in New York. I've talked to you while you were in California. I mean, Texas. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you have more time in a window than.
Oh yeah, we don't even have to take a break after 8 hours of driving in Texas on Texas time. So, you're supposed to have a 30-minute break after 8 hours of driving, and then finish out your 11. But
I mean, even in Arkansas, there's no break in no 8-hour shift. In Arkansas. I mean,
right.
This is kind of a joke.
Right.
So anyway, go ahead, Don. I'm sorry.
Oh well, I was just my buddy there. He had told me, he had talked to you a little bit. And, about you seeing America. And, of course, we all know there's a bunch of, regardless of your political slant, left, right, who cares, you got to be seeing a bunch of crazy stuff out there, things that are on your mind. Man, I mean, just something on your mind. I mean, hey, share it with us. Tell us some of the stuff that's on your mind that you see across America that, may be different from the East Coast to the West Coast or something. Give us some perspective.
Well, East Coast and West Coast, the variant between them is not a lot, but then you get in the Midwest and the southern states, and even all the way north to Dakota, South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska. I mean that center area. You come in about 3 states on both sides, and everybody in that middle is pretty much the same. But then you get those 2 coasts. Some way you need to break them off and put them together because they're pretty much the same. It goes not to be political, but it goes from east to west. It goes liberal, like Democratic liberal type, and then it goes conservative over to about Denver.
Yeah.
And over into maybe even into Utah a little bit, and then it just goes full-blown retard.
What are you talking about? Whoa. Wait a second. Now, Utah has what now? Does Utah have conservative or liberal over there?
Utah is a red state. Yes.
But they do some crazy shit over there, too, though.
Man, yeah. Get out there on the salt flats and watch them run 180 mile an hour.
I'm more worried about those underwear they got over there.
Well, yeah.
Underwear.
I don't Wayne know. I mean, excuse me. The trucker knows who I'm talking about.
Well, since you give it away, hey, I'm Alan Cunningham. I'm actually Brad's cousin. Yeah. I've been a truck driver for about 20 years, and you really want to know a story? I'm also an ex-con. I'm also been married 4 times to 3 different women.
I've been married 5 times. I've been married 5 times.
Fella. You are glutton for punishment, ain't you?
Hey, you ain't any worse than me, though. But that's a true story, though. I mean, I don't give a shit what your name is. We can believe that. But look here.
My friends call me Undertaker, so.
I was going to say, that's what I was going to call you, the Undertaker, if anything. It's really, because that's I found some art that I did of you the other day, and it was like of you in this, I think it was Halloween. And you had this black thing on, and I had like a puma, black, leopard or whatever it is, and a wolf inside you, man. That was some cool. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. That's when I seen you them pictures of me dressed up like the Undertaker.
Yeah, and so you don't, like I said, we're done talking about names, but now the story though. I've been keeping up with you, regardless of. You and I are cousins. We've known each other for 40-something years, and we're both about to be 50. And Donald, I've known him for 40-something years, and we're both about to be 50. So we're all about the same age. And of course, we've all seen a little bit different perspective on the world. But the goal of Outside the Grid is to get outside the grid, man. Because like some of the stuff you told me over the years. I don't really, the politics stuff is great. I mean, I know that people love that shit. They love to chew on that bread meat, and all that kind of stuff. But man,
I get tired of hearing about it. That's why I quit watching the news.
Oh, yeah. But now, the stories you told me, And my Uncle Dean was a driver as well. Man, he told me stories about. He said, y'all know that I've spent a little bit of time on Harvard campus. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, yeah, I had to make a delivery there one time with a truck driver. So what now, with you as truck driving, what's your favorite delivery? What's you seen out there that you can talk about that's been kind of weird for you?
My favorite delivery that sticks out in my mind was downtown Long Island, New York.
Was it some salsa from New York City?
No, we didn't have to get a rope. But anyway.
That's funny because Alan went from this truck driver is from Texas.
Yes. Well, I'm from Arkansas. I live in Texas.
That's right, but you're a Texan now, though. You know.
Yeah, I'm a Texan now. That's the best move I ever made. It is. But I will put it like this. I'll tell you a story about Long Island. My wife hadn't been driving too long. She was still what I call a rookie, which I'm still a rookie. If I quit
You've been driving since 1998, right? 1998,
yeah.
2000.
But if I ever quit learning and think I know it all, I'm gonna take the keys out and step out because I'm getting ready to kill somebody. You know, I mean that'd be dangerous. But we go across the George Washington Bridge. We get across the water into Long Island. Now, where I'm at on this narrow little street downtown, I get to my destination there. I got cars on both sides of the road. Can't nobody come past me because I got the whole road to go. In between the cars parked on the side of the road.
You're driving a 53-foot truck, right?
53-foot drive van, yes, with a 72-inch sleeper on the back of the cab. All right.
How wide is it?
It's 102 inches wide plus mirrors. So it's little over 8 foot.
Yeah, it's plenty wide.
Oh yeah, it's plenty wide. So I'm looking through my mirror. I see the Empire State Building. It's it's within view of me being on this street. But I got to make a turn, a right-hand turn up here on this next street, and then go down and blindside back down into an alley behind this building. And I mean blindside on my right side. Right side is your left side when you're sitting looking forward. Okay. Well, I couldn't make the turn. There was too many cars. I couldn't swing wide. I couldn't do nothing. This cop comes up. He's a beat cop, foot cop. He walks on foot, New York City, Long Island. He got up on the side of my truck. He said, "Driver, you got to get this truck off my street." I said, "Sir, I can't. All of these cars, I can't turn to make it down the next street." So he goes around to these businesses. He makes people move their cars. They're having to move their cars out of the way, and that's hard for them to do to get past me. So they're having a single file move, one after the other. One person doesn't move their car, and they're right on the corner where I'm having to take the turn. It's a black Maserati.
Oh, my Lord.
So I pull forward. He's on the side of my truck, standing on the side of my truck right here at my window. I swung wide. I start to make the turn, and I took every bit of room I could take to make that trailer go around, and I look back, and my wife, she's on pins and needles. I said, "Sir, I can't make the turn. That car is still on that corner. My rear tandems is going to hit it." He said, "I told him to move it, make your turn, driver." I said, "Sir, if I hit that car, I'm getting a ticket anyway." He said, "I told them to move that car. It's not moved. Make your turn." And he's speaking in that New York bro, Well, to no country boy, I mean, that's kind of cute, So
yeah.
I said, "Okay, So I swung it out there and I made that turn. When I made that turn, my rear tires lifted up on that trailer, on the hood of that Maserati, and just sat down. Boom, on the other side. My wife, she said, "Oh my God, you just crushed the corner of that car." I said, "Hey, this man told me to do it." Well, I got made on the turn, and he told me how to get out of there as to not come back through there and be out of there better, you know. And I asked him, I said, "Sir, what's going to happen with that man's car or woman's car back there?" He said, "Who cares?" He was told to move it, and he's parked it, not even supposed to be parked that close to a corner. I made that delivery, and I got the hell out of there, and I have not been back to Long Island since.
Maybe some Long Island iced tea. Hey, I was talking to you one time, and I want to see if your opinion has changed any. One time you were up, I think, in the hills of California somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, and they had switched you over from a standard transmission, manual transmission, to an automatic transmission. You got to the top of that hill, and boy, I'm telling you right now, I could tell you needed a drink. But now tell me about now, what you driving now, and what does the technology look like out there? You know, we hear about all these electronic trucks that drive themselves by a Google map, but what do you see with trucks and what's going on with things right now?
Well, the truck is always going to have, it don't matter how much they automate them, they're always going to have a driver manning it for local directions and getting into local areas.
Let me throw this in real quick. I just saw a thing where they had a self-driving truck drive itself over 1,000 miles, but it didn't drive the first 50 or the last 50 because that's where all the important stuff took place.
That's right. It's always going to have somebody in it, manning it, to maneuver through small areas, cities, getting into a customer and backing it into a dock door.
Let me tell you this one time. A real quick story. I bought a lawnmower from Home Depot. And this is before I started doing what I do now. But I saw this guy. I live on a 3-mile road. I live in the very middle of it, 1/2 mile. I saw this dude drive down here in a delivery truck and then drive backwards 1.5 miles to get out that thing, and did it.
I had to do that not long ago. I took a wrong turn coming out of Phillips 66, getting a load of lube oil. By the way, I drive a tanker now, not a driving it. So I pull into Phillips 66 in Sulphur, Louisiana. I get loaded. First time I've been there. I go to pull out. Instead of turning left like I should have, but from turning right in there, I got sidetracked somehow with my brain, which ain't hard to do, and I turned right. I ended up at Westlake Chemicals Gate, 1.5 miles, 2 miles up the road.
Oh, my God.
They would not let me pull in and turn around and drive out. I had to back up 1.5 miles to a curve and back into another street.
That sounds like such fun. I mean, I bet you weren't sweating, were you?
Well, no, I've done it so many times. I can back up many miles as I've put forward. But now, I started driving back when? Now, they are put like C.R. England, Swift, Werner, Stevens Transport, all those big wig companies like that. They are taking and creating what I call steering wheel attendants. These are the young guys that drive along there with their little cameras and their little deals that brakes for them and stuff like that. I have all that stuff on my truck, but I don't use it because I don't need it. I drive my truck. They drive along there with their foot cocked up on the dashboard, all complacent and everything. But they'll take them and train them, put them through their training, and then they'll put them in a truck with another trainee and let them train each other. Yeah.
That sounds like some big brain right there. Like two amateurs training each other. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Donald, can you back a
trailer
up?
Do what?
Hey, Donald, can you back a trailer up 1.5 miles to feet, 3-foot one?
As long as you ain't gonna put me in a rush.
Or anybody there to mess with me, you know. But like, you know, when you backing that up, you got 4 or 5 Mazdas and, you know, 17 pissed off minivans that are pissed off at you. You trying to back that thing up, you know.
Well, if there's people around, that's a hard situation. Luckily, in my cases, it's been a situation where I had no other traffic around to have to back up. But
thank God.
I will tell you this: these big trailers like this, and I know, being where you're from, I know well where you're from. You have pulled a 16 or 18 foot, utility truck. You've backed it up.
Yeah.
You know,
but not a 53-foot trailer.
No.
That is 10 foot, 8 foot wide into a 10-foot slot that's like down the, at the 300 yard backup space that I've seen at these plants that I work with. I don't know how people do it. I shouldn't do it.
I have backed a 102-inch flatbed that's 102 inches wide. To the safety rails on it, where on the sides of it where you hook your straps, it's like 104. But I have backed one of those down into a slot that I have a 1/2 inch on each side of the trailer, down into a concrete concave into a warehouse where my trailer is sitting level with their floor, and they load it, and I just pull out.
Tell you what, you better hope them axles are lined right. So that trailer ain't got a crab while you try to back down that ramp.
yeah.
Let me tell you this.
Down the road.
Let me say this right now. I have never made $1 doing what you described. Okay, never, and I don't think that I ever could.
Oh yeah. Good.
Well, it's one of the things. Like, hey, a big truck. I mean, that takes a total different skill level, of tractor trailer driving. I mean, hey, you give me a regular old, like he was talking about, a 16, 18 foot, trailer. I can put that sucker where I want it. But now you start talking about a big rig, 53 foot long, 104 inches wide.
Well, you're looking at that just a little bit wrong there. Do you realize how fast or quick a utility trailer or a boat trailer turns?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to...
Right. Yeah, if you can back a boat trailer or a utility trailer, as long as you give yourself room with one of these, it's a whole lot easier.
No.
Because it don't move as fast. It don't turn as fast.
You say that, but now I have worked in industry. I have seen people ship out chemicals. I've shipped out lawnmowers. I've shipped out everything you could ever imagine. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of the states, the spaces that I've seen people back stuff into, there's no way I could ever do it. I'm going to be honest with you. There's no amount of money that could ever get me to figure out how to do that. I can't even figure it out. I mean, because...
Well, yeah, but see, you didn't have that blue collar thing like we did. I mean, I'm, a blue collar, been doing heavy equipment and stuff, my whole life. And it's a mind.
Damn GP.
Right, yeah.
He did that, though. He can't say he ain't done it. He did it in college.
Well, the thing of it is most people don't sit there and set in their mind that, if you're, a single trailer point and you're backing up, all you got to remember is the ass of the trailer is going to go the same way you turn the wheel. It's going to go opposite to it. And a 3, it's going to go the same way. Excuse me, I had that backwards. But and you get it in your mind.
Now, so you got complicated right there because you couldn't even say it right because it's backwards. Sometimes it depends on where the stroke's at. I'm saying.
I know, and that's why I'm saying is it's one of them things you got to get it in your mind how to do it. and you just do it that way. Just let it happen.
You know how I trained my wife to back a trailer?
I want to know about this. Yes, tell us.
Well, my wife used to drive a forklift in a warehouse. And I told her, I said, remember driving a forklift? She said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, you act like you're looking through that mirror, looking that direction, and you're hooked to that trailer with that forklift fork. You're pushing that trailer backwards with that forklift. I said, whichever way you turn the nose of the ass of that forklift, that's the way that trailer's going to go. Same way with this truck. Whichever way that nose goes, that's the way that trailer's going to turn.
I mean, I agree with what you said, but the other day, let me tell you guys something. I had to go to the landfill, and I had a truck, and I didn't have no trailer, okay? And I backed my stuff up, and I dumped my load out, and the guy right behind me had a van, and then a 16 or 18 foot trailer, and backed it down a rough ass, into a landfill. And I don't know how he did that. I don't know. I can sit there and I'm thinking to myself, there's no amount. I don't even know. I couldn't get an airplane drone that's possible to carry that damn thing and get it down there where this man got the trailer to.
Well, I started out right there in Arkansas with a company out of Pine Bluff called Left Lane Express. It was owned by some Australians and a New Zealander. And, of course, we had ungoverned trucks. They were wide open.
You think that's a knife? I've got a knife right here.
That's not a knife. This is a knife. Anyway, I started with them. And from them, I was running a reefer dry van. We run it both ways. I went to a flatbed. Then I went back to a dry van. Then I hauled logs. Then I hauled chips. Then I hauled oversized. I mean, then I went to a tanker and I found my home. I mean, I love hauling tankers. There's good money in tankers. So, I mean, yeah, I'm going to stay here. But
you have to have special certification to drive a tanker. Probably hazmat and tanker.
Well, I don't have a hazmat. I won't pull hazmat. I love me too much. But, I had that little incident a couple of years ago right there in Bastrop coming out of GP, in Crossett. I unloaded in Crossett there at GP with the same company that I'm with now, which I won't mention the name because, I'll just say the big red truck. They, of course, I understood where they come from. I had a steer tire blow with a tie rod drop at the same time. When the tire blew, the tie rod dropped out. Right there at Harold's where the old Harold's number 2 and what's the name of that place? After Hours used to be in Bandanas.
That's a compound wreck.
Yeah, right there. I mean, it just rolled over. Boom. Slid down the road. Luckily, nobody else was involved. It was at night. Now, I will say this.
Wow.
From my perspective, anyway.
Wait a second. Let's picture this. Let's let the people there just listen. Picture this. You're driving down the road in an 18-wheeler, 53-foot long trailer. Is that the whole truck, or how long is the whole truck?
No, the truck. My truck and trailer. My trailer is 48 foot. My tanker is. But
yeah.
my truck's another 19 foot beyond that. So
48 plus 19, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You can figure that out. And you're talking about the tanker laid over sideways in the middle of the road.
Yeah, and the truck. I went totally on my side, flopped over. Yeah. When the tie rod dropped out, it drug me to the edge of the road. When I hit the dirt, I'm trying to get it back on the road. It caught in the dirt, skidded a little more. The trailer come off in the ditch, started rolling over and took the truck with it. Luckily, I was unloaded. I was empty. So, yeah, I won't never be the same. If you've ever had your life flash before your eyes, it'll do it.
Hey, tell us about the time those pipes, don't mention any company names, but I remember you telling me about early in your career, there was some stuff that went through your back window.
Mm-hmm. A load of 1-inch angle iron coming out of Houston. It was right after that Rita hurricane down there. People get out on the road and they'll try to get a big truck to hit them to collect.
That doesn't sound too smart. I don't care about insurance.
Yeah.
Too smart,
but there is a big, it's a big scam. People do it a lot,
Yeah. And I'm running along there. I'm just getting up to speed, coming out of some heavy traffic, and a Denali come up beside me, and a little Dodge Neon jumped in front of me, and I got 40,000 pounds of angle iron behind me. 4 packs, 40 foot long, 10,000 pounds a pack. Well, that little Dodge Neon, all of a sudden the brake lights come on. I hit my brakes.
And for those that don't know, physics is involved here. There's lots of kinetic stored energy behind this truck.
Yeah, quite a bit. When I hit the brakes, I felt the load give and kind of slide forward.
Not a feeling you want to feel. Not a feeling.
So I let off the brake. I looked up, the car's still there. I hit the brake again. When I hit the brake again, my rear tires on my trailer locked up, and load straps went to snapping. And I let off the brake again. The car shot forward and went on, and impact. 2 packages of that angle iron come through the headache rack, the back of the sleeper, rolled the mattress up, and when it come to a final stop, I was a straight truck, and I could reach down between my seats right beside me here, and I could feel the ends of that angle iron through the mattress.
Yeah, you reach down, you're like, oh yeah, good American steel.
Oh. Yes,
No. Yeah. Hey, how old were you at this time? Because I'm thinking it's young.
Really gonna make me think.
I want you to think because I want to put my mind there.
2005, I was 30.
Yeah, I was 34 that year. Yeah. No, I turned. Me and you the same age, so we're about 33, 34 years old. That's year my first child was born.
Yeah.
And you're down there near Houston, a long way from home, and you're sitting there and you're driving down the road and you make a stop, and all of a sudden stuff starts stripping and strapping and breaking away, and then what happened?
Well, the ones that tried to make me hit them, they shot off and went on down the road, and I'm sitting there in the middle of the road with broke airlines and a load of steel through my truck, and a cop come up there, and in Texas, if nobody else is involved, there ain't no big deal. They will get you off the road and you handle your business. So, as long as there's no fatalities or anybody hurt, they're not going to get in it anyway. Otherwise, if you just have a fender bender, you swap insurances and carry on down the road.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. Praise
so,
the Lord. Yeah.
He blocked traffic, and I drugged that trailer like a straight truck. It wouldn't turn. It wouldn't turn. It had something between the truck and trailer. It had no pivot point. I drug it down the exit ramp and off on the shoulder there on the feeder road. And lo and behold, when I got stopped, I looked up and I was right beside a record company. So I called them. They come out there and took their big boom wrecker that's got the split boom on it. And I got up on the trailer and hooked up the packs of steel, slid them out of the truck and everything, and got them back on the trailer, restrapped, and this time I chained and binded the front and rear of the load.
Yeah, no doubt.
And, luckily, he had chains and binders because I didn't, because normally all I ever hauled was hardwood,
right.
locally around there. And,
well, I mean, man, but to set the thing here, kind of like in Final Destination, there was almost the equivalent of a surfboard through a windshield. It's just in this case, it was a pack of steel through your truck out the front into the car, and you was fixing to hit.
Yeah, I might have been a pin cushion if it would have hit just right.
Yeah, I mean that's just the thing is it could have just speared straight through the vehicle.
And no more of you forever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now now those are pretty scary stories, and I know that trucking is like, to me, it's like, I know I never could be a trucker. There's a lot of rules you have to follow, and like you've already mentioned some about, we all have, but in terms of like drug testing, in terms of how many hours you can drive per day and what states you're in, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and even if you're old, fat, and out of shape, you can still get past the physical.
But you have to have a medical test too. I mean, it's like, it's not a joke. I mean,
I have to have a physical every 2 years, and I've actually almost failed a physical. I got run out of one doctor's office because I called him an appendage of a human body. Yeah.
Just the head of it, or the other side?
The whole damn thing.
I got you.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Got you. All right. See, all right. We got a good idea what you mean.
He told me that office visit was over. I could get out of his office because he kept telling me he wasn't going to pass me until I showed him where I'd had a sleep apnea test. Because I'm a big guy, And I told him, I said, that's not a mandate anymore for DOT. That went out last year. He said, well, you're going to have to show me before I get it. I said, why are you being a dick? And he said, huh? I said, why are you being that? And he said, well, our visit's over right here. You can leave my office. I said, okay, gladly. And I called him that again and walked out. So even the doctors think they run, which they can. The doctors can ruin us,
Hey, you know what? I've always thought that I've always been kind of a ballsy kind of guy, but I mean, I've never been that kind of ballsy.
Really?
No, I mean, that's like, those people can screw your life around. I mean, you got to really know what you're doing with that,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that's one of them cases of, you go into the doctor because the doctor knows his business about your sickness and da-da-da. Well, I mean, obviously the guy that drives the truck for a living, he should know the latest, greatest rules and laws he has to know to be able to pass. So, maybe the doctor should have stopped and said, well, I wasn't aware of that. And, we should follow up instead of just saying, no, man, you just got to prove that to me.
Well, when that was a mandate, I'm sitting there taking the physical one day, and then there's another guy sitting beside me, and I'm going to tell you, this fella here was a perfect physical specimen of health, okay? He's muscular, he's, in good shape, and I'm talking about his upper body. He had man boobs, his pecs was something. I ain't never looked like that, not even when I was a young man, and I showed this lady where, my deal, I had a little memory card that come out of my sleep machine. And they walked over there and took it, and then they walked over to him, and they measured his neck. Okay, I'm a fat man at this time. My neck is greater than 17 inches. His neck was 18 inches, and I'm talking about pure muscle.
Right.
That nurse stood there in front of me and asked this man, "Sir, have you ever had a sleep apnea test?" He said, "No, ma'am, I have never had a reason to." She said, "Well, your neck is greater than 17 inches, and you need to have a sleep." I said, "Whoa, hold up." I said, "That's for fat people, ma'am." I said, "Because we have this thing called fat that falls down, you know, and relaxes when our muscles relax, and makes our, you know, kind of blocks off our airway." I said, "That man is healthy. What? I mean, he and I are miles apart. He, you know, we're the same, you know, law fit him as it fits me."
Right, yeah. There's no differentiating between an 18-inch neck because the guy's a fit, physical guy and it's muscular versus someone who's an overweight, you know, person, you know. And, you know, but because there's no definition, they, you know, some places, you know, there's the spirit of the law and then there's the letter of the law. The letter of the law is the 18 inches. Well, I know, you know, I mean, most people should be able to go, well, I understand this. The spirit of the law was for this. But I understand they got that same problem of like, no, hell, I got busted here the other day for not carding somebody for selling cigarettes when they were obviously 80 years old. You know, that kind of thing. So
let me just say about this, like with my family, all of us in my family, the Barfield family, are, you know, we're short and wide. You know, we're like you know, that's just how we're built. We're not built tall and skinny. We were not raised in a place where there were tall grasses that we had to look upon.
More roly-poly. Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. I mean, no, seriously though, we were like in a cave somewhere, you know, hiding out in some snow where it wasn't really important to be tall, you know.
Weeble wobbles. Right, weeble wobbles.
Yeah, but they don't fall down.
There you go, see? They weeble and they wobble and they don't fall down.
I call us hobbits, but it's the same thing, you know.
Okay, all right.
So the thing of it is that you know, what makes you could be in the pinnacle of health and not meet those measurements, which are just, you know, I mean, they're like really great if everybody was 5'9" and 200 pounds, you know, but that's not where everybody is. I don't think is anybody here on this line exactly 5'9", the average height, or no? I thought
no, not at all. Yeah. But you see, I mean, this is that thing of where, you know, the law was written, and either someone was either lazy about it, or, you know, the times changed and it went from, you know, come on, you know, we're going to write this. Do we really have to say this? Almost like preparation H. They actually have to write on there, not to be taken orally. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, crap, do we actually have to specify?
Wait. What now?
I'm trying to point out that you have to... You have to be specific.
I've been eating the salve. I thought you were supposed to consume the salve. I didn't know.
Well, it's written on there. It's written on there. Do not take orally. So, you know, there's a reason they had to put that on there.
What is orally? What does orally mean, Donald? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, orally, you know, you brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth.
Oh,
you know,
the opposite end.
Yeah. You know, but I mean, the point is.
With that being said, Donald, my wife bought a you know those hair straightener or curler things?
Yeah.
The curler? Yeah. She bought a curler. And on the side of the box, it stated in the warning down at the bottom, Do not insert into any orifice of the body.
Yeah, because there's some of the things, look.
But you got to think, somebody had to have done that for them to have to indicate, do not do this.
Wait a second, it's not normal to stick hair curlers up your anus?
Or anywhere else, for that matter. I mean, it is a woman's product, you know. So,
right, on or off.
Yeah.
I would recommend off if you just got to ignore the warnings.
Yeah.
But you know.
But anyway,
it is what it is, right?
Trucking. We were talking about trucking, and I know somehow or another we get off on female orifice, but you know, the reality of it is that out on the road, you know, you do have your team trucking, but now you also have trucking where you drive by yourself, and of course, sometimes you have a dedicated route, and sometimes you just kind of float around for a month or two. What are you doing right now, or what do you prefer?
I like to mix it up. I don't like repetition. I can do a little repetition like I did this week. You know, I kind of get brain corporate tunnel when I'm doing the same thing every day.
Oh no, brain corporal tunnel. I love that description.
Yeah. Big brain, big brain, big brain, big brain, big brain.
Well, like this week, I started out Monday morning in Beaumont, Texas. I went down to Angleton, Texas, picked up a load of it wasn't nothing but hydraulic oil, and I carried it up to Odessa, Texas, to a place up there. Well, from there, I kind of hooked my boss man up with a guy up there that I know that needed loads run from a rail yard out of rail cars back to this place. So they needed a bunch of their product run from those rail cars back to this place I was going to. So my boss, he steps aside with that situation because I deal with both customers, the rail yard and the customer. So he kind of steps aside and I do everything. I get all the numbers. I get all the loads. I hook them up as they need to be hooked up, put them in order, and I do them. Well, my wife, she's running over to El Paso doing a drop and hook and coming back up that way, and I'm training her on how to do it because she's never done it before, and we are the ones that they requested to do it. So, long story short, I'm running back and forth, 30-mile round trip from this rail yard back to this customer, getting unloaded, back to the rail car, getting, and it gets old after a week. I done 9 loads between Tuesday morning and, well, yesterday I delivered the last one in Carlsbad, New Mexico, about 150 miles from Odessa.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when you start going, oh, look, that tree finally started blooming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
man.
mean by, that's what I mean by brain corporate tunnel. My brain
repetitive.
That repetitive motion of my brain day after day. There's nothing changes.
Yeah, you see a whole family of cows grow up, have little ones die, get eaten, and I watch a whole herd of bees, a whole swarm of bees grow up.
At least y'all have all that, but all I have is that his wife is tougher than I am.
Well, we knew that before we made this phone call. I never knew that was a question. When did you pose that question, Brad?
I was just interjecting.
Sometimes I think my wife's tougher than I am, Brad. So.
Well, Brad's got a point. I mean, I sent him a picture the other day, a little video of my granddaughter, and she's like 7, and she was riding a bull. I mean, she got on. I mean, it was a young. This is a real bull. It was a young bull. But she was on there. Of course, there was people holding her and stuff. But they opened the gate and it come out a bucket. And me and Brad was talking about it, and he said, "Man, geez," I'm talking about being proud. somebody to be the man. I said, well, I ain't gonna tell her, but she's more man than her pop is too.
Yeah.
Women are tough. Yeah. Let me tell you, I've been, you know, when you've been married for a while, and all of us have been, at least for a little while, you'll see that. I mean, you know, if we're honest, I'm talking about really honest. I'm talking about honest beyond whatever we can get beyond on a typical day.
Yeah, being honest with yourself as well.
Yeah. That's hard for me to do, but women are tough, man. I've seen my wife do some miraculous things. I'm like going, oh, my God, how the hell can she still... This woman woke up when I did at 4:20. It's 12 o'clock the next day, a.m., and she's still trying to get stuff prepared for school, you know.
Well, I mean, you know, Brad, you asked for a story, and I can do a total rundown of my life probably in about 20 minutes or less.
Yeah, do that. I'm gonna be quiet and listen.
I mean, not the fact that there's any miraculous story to it or nothing, but I guess you could say I come up from rags to not riches, but comfortable. You know, we were poor, you know, dirt road poor when I was a kid. And then I come up, I got married, you know, I started working with Dad, working construction and stuff, right there in GP and Vicksburg and everywhere. Bastrop, right? Got married, got divorced, I ran, I got divorced again. I tried to run anyway. I couldn't run very fast. But when I finally made up my mind to get rid of these women that was hindering my life, I ended up screwing up. Now here's the big deal where I committed a felon. And quite frankly, I was a little wild, but all I did was hung some paper. And by hanging paper, it wasn't wallpaper. It was bad checks.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a mistake that can happen to a young person. I mean, you don't mean you're a bad person or anything. Right. Just, it can happen.
And quite frankly, it was my money, but I was on a checking account with this woman, and she was the primary on the account. And when we split up, I went and got me an apartment. I went and got me some cheap furniture and groceries and utilities, and 2 weeks later, I went to jail for forgery. It was my checks with my name on them as secondary on her account. Okay. Well, I ended up going through about 6 years of that, 7 at the most. Back and forth. I went to prison over it because I didn't do my probation time right. Then I lost my mom. When I lost my mom, that was the one that was keeping me together totally there, you know. And instead of going off the rails again, I finally got some sense about me and said, okay, this ain't how it's supposed to be. I come out that last time with goals set. Now, I started achieving those goals, and then I met my current wife, who had like-minded goals. And luckily, I met her through my brother. She was my brother's coffee-drinking buddy. You'd have to know my brother. He's old, like 19 years older than me, and he is the epitome of redneck. Okay.
Now you're talking about my former stepdad.
Former, yes, old David, yes. And of course, there was people that didn't like the fact that we got together, but we didn't like that. We didn't let that bother us. And quite frankly, she's an ex-prison guard, and I'm an ex-con, so it kind of works out. When Burlington shut down in Monticello, I was working at Burlington. They shut down, and I went to the workforce and went through their training course to get my CDL. I got it for free through the state because I was out what they call it, a displaced worker, out of place worker, or something like that.
Yeah, some category, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever. I'd always wanted to be a truck driver. So, from a little fella, you know, I always loved trucks. Everybody said, hey, look at the bandit's car. No, look at that truck. You know, that was me. Well, I started doing something I love, and when you start doing something you love, there ain't no work in it. And I haven't looked back since.
What's that song? There's some song that's talking about do what you love but call it work.
Yeah.
Hey, just real quick, just to touch on that, because you said wanting to be a truck driver, and this is just a question out of curiosity. Do you see a lot of the old, you know, the pulling the horn sign that we used to do back, like the, you know, the...
I still do it every time, and if a kid pulls that imaginary rope, I'm going to yank on that horn and honk it at him because...
Yeah, I just wondered, do you see that?
I remember.
Is that a thing that happens now on the roads?
Yes, there's still pass you on the road and pull that, you know, want you to honk the horn. You be on back roads in the country or something, headed through some, what I call through the woods.
Yeah.
Kids standing out on the edge of the road doing it when a truck comes by. Yeah, they still do it. And me being who I am, I remember when I was a kid, I'd do that, and the driver didn't pull the horn, blow the horn at me. It almost hurt my feelings.
I know. It's like, oh.
I couldn't even understand it. Like, why would you not do that? That's your job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole purpose.
So,
you know,
I don't care if I'm in the middle of a town. I don't care if I'm in the middle of a city on the interstate or out on a backcountry road. If a kid pulls on the horn, I'm gonna blow it for him. You know.
Yeah, that's just it's just an old Americana a tradition that we used to do as kids, and I just didn't know what did it translate to today's times. But I'm glad you do still do it. I mean, you know,
it's hard to believe. It is hard to believe, but there is still some good kids and good parents out there that's trying to raise their kids right and not put them in today's mentality of what you see in today's youth. My daughters, she's kind of on the fence with some things, you know, and some of them that I agree with her on, but she does raise my granddaughters to be patriotic, to think for themselves, to be free thinkers, don't follow the masses. You know, we are raising them in church, which I don't get to go as much as probably I should, but they're being raised in church. If she's going to do it right, or I'm going to make sure she does it right. Let's put it that way.
I got something. Since we're talking about family, I want you to talk a little bit about, if you want to, about Cunningham.
Okay. What you want to know?
I just want to know what it means to you.
Well, I'll put it like this. I'm proud of my daddy's name. You know, your cousin, more or less, my dad, he was a very good man.
I consider him an uncle, by the way.
Well, yeah, because of his age and where he was at in life. Yeah, he was a veteran. He was very refined. He didn't speak very much, but when he did, it meant something. Take it to the bank. He was a good mentor. He taught me damn near everything he knew, and he adopted me. And that means more than anything, especially with that POS I had for a biological sperm donor.
Hey, look here. Not everybody's meant for it, but I know.
That's true.
But now some people step up regardless.
That's right, and he stepped up where he didn't have to. Just like...
Well, that's the description of the POS. I mean... The ones that step up don't get the POS descriptor or the sperm donor descriptor. They either get daddy or father or something like that, not POS sperm donor. So, yeah.
Right. Me, myself, the only biological child I have is in the ground right there in Hamburg. But I have a daughter that was a little too old for me to adopt when me and her mother got together. But I'm going to tell you something. There could not have been another child in this world more like me than her. And with that being said, she wishes I could have adopted her when she was younger.
Hey, what did she call you? What did she call you, though?
She called me Dad.
That's all you need to know.
When she introduces me to anyone, this is my dad. She don't call me stepdad. Now, sometimes she calls me by my name, of course, you know. But that goes without being said because she was 16 when me and her mom got together.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, you know, when you get to a certain age, I mean, you know, whether, you know, if it's a stepchild, whether, you know, you consider it a real one or not, you know, it's just easier to say, oh, this is Bill instead of my stepfather and try to explain the situation. I mean, you know,
right.
It's just Daddy or this is Bill.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, no, I got you. I understand.
But now, how old is she now, though?
She'll be 36 this year.
That's what I'm saying. You've been that child's life for a long time. So now between those are more years than I've had a kid.
Yeah.
So, well, okay. So, and I understand about you. Like I've always told, in fact, anybody that ever you and I have ever usually spoke of, I said, I know this guy right here. You know, you had a story. You know, you worked.
Yeah.
You know, by yourself, for yourself. I mean, I know you've done some mowing stuff by yourself. I know that you've done all kinds of things all through the years to survive.
Yeah.
And you went through the prison thing.
Yeah, I started out at 12 years old mowing yards because I like buying my own stuff. I like that independence. And I moved from there to minimum wage. I moved from minimum wage to whatever I could make there working construction or whatever. Then I moved into trucking and become from rookie standard pay up to, like, say this week, I grossed $2,300. This week, from Monday till today.
Man, that's good money. That's good money.
So, yeah, I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I hadn't seen as much as some have, you know. I wanted to go in the military. Daddy, he told me, don't do it. I asked him why, and he said, because you don't have the mentality. He said, you don't have the mentality. He said, your normal fellow, they'll break him down and build him back up. He said, you'll end up getting broke down and end up in the brig. Because you won't build back up to be nothing but he said, they'll have to put you in special forces somewhere where you can just kill every day.
Now, so you're kind of saying you're kind of independent. You don't. I mean, everything about you is kind of independent. I mean, you're not a guy. I don't really see you standing in lines a lot.
No. I go to Walmart, man. They got self-checkout. I will go over there and stand in line to check out. I won't go through self-checkout.
Thank you for that. I do the same thing. Thank you for that. That's a job for a human being.
That's right. I made the manager in Woodville, Texas, mad because I wouldn't go to a self-checkout. I had 3 people in front of me, 4. They had 2 things open and people lined up. She said, sir, you can go over here to self-checkout. I'm fine right here. Well, you can get out faster over here. Yeah, but if I get out faster over there, this lady's not earning her money.
Okay, stop right here. This is a great point for me to bring up what I want to bring up because, you know, you're being very socially conscientious right there, and also some people call you a felon. So I want to talk about that for just a minute because what you were describing to me would not be what in 1984 I would have considered a felon. I mean, it wouldn't have been what I would have considered a felon in 1998 or even 2008 or even 2018, because you're describing a very socially conscientious person there, and that makes sense to me. But
hadn't you ever figured out I'm a chameleon?
I understand that, but tell me about with that chameleon sense. Tell me about a day in prison.
Slow, intense, and quite frankly, even for me, scary. You steady have to watch your back. You don't know what's going to happen. They put you out. I know you've seen the workers on the side of the road from Cummins and all that up there. Going out cleaning ditches and stuff. Hard, hot, sweaty, terrible food, and it is what it is.
What you eating out there whenever you go out on a work crew?
Oh, out on a work crew, it's what I call Mr. Meat sandwich, because you don't know what kind of luncheon loaf or whatever that is in between them two pieces of bread.
Okay, so let me throw this in. One time I toured a prison as a result of, there was a shortage of LPNs, that's licensed practical nurses, for prison. I think they kind of figured out a way to do it, but, it pays so well. It's like it pays more than you can ever imagine back during that period of time. But I went for a tour, and of course I saw like common area barracks. I saw naked people. I went into lockdown with a convicted, like a guy on death row. His hand was like 2 inches from my leg while we were in lockdown. And this was the guy that hung himself upside down for 2 hours or several hours and like made his ears bleed. It's just a very weird. You're dealing with people there that in our society these days that made a slight mistake all the way up to murdered everybody on their path.
Yeah, right. And they don't differentiate. There's a word felon there, and it don't matter if you kill somebody, sold drugs to a kid, robbed a bank, or wrote a bad check. You're still a felon. There's no difference, they don't differentiate in that case at all. It's kind of like crazy people. Like this crazy person over here, he kills productive members of society, but this crazy person over here, he rolls his turds in tiny balls and eats crayons. I'll feed him all day long. Lock him up, feed him. This one over here, kill him.
Yeah.
Well, I'd made the comment earlier about, when you were talking about you went as a felon as a hot check. And, and Brad has made a good point. You made a great point there of the fact that, look, you can make a mistake and not be a bad person. It was a mistake. Now, whether you did it, because you just did something stupid, like, man, that was stupid, or you thought you were totally in the right. Like, you with yours, hey, you thought you was totally in the right. You found out, well, no, actually, you're wrong. But that stigma of felon, regardless of crime, is a tough thing when you get back out, on the thing.
Right. And even though I wasn't locked down that long, and I come out with goals and set goals that I achieved.
How long?
Set more.
How long? How long were you in?
Total of 42 months.
That's like 6 months less than 4 years. So 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Where did you spend your time at?
I did a little time in Cummins, a little time in Texarkana, and a little time in Little Rock. 3 different units. The first time was actual Cummins, waiting for my appeal to go through because I fired my lawyer because he accepted that time without me saying so. So I fired my public pretender or defender, whatever you want to call him. I fired him, filed an appeal myself, worked my own case, and got Department of Community Punishment, which was a minimum security, what they call therapeutic lockdown. So
that was Little Rock or Texarkana or both?
It was Little Rock and Texarkana. They moved me from Little Rock to Texarkana because my Uncle Buddy's son was the nurse in Little Rock.
I got you.
Yeah.
So you finished up where?
I finished up in Texarkana.
Okay. And that was a big AA place too, as I understand.
Yeah, they was big on AA and NA, and they was like, I was like, I'm not a drug head, or an alcoholic. Well, whatever you did, apply the rules of AA to that. Okay. I can do this. So, and at the time I was calling it fake it to make it,
Yeah.
And pretty much that's what I did. But I was faking it for them.
Yeah.
But in my own mind, I was developing my own goals and my own life for whenever I walked out them doors.
Beyond their vision of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now you when did you leave Arkansas to go to Texas and start your new life? About what time? How long ago?
I left Arkansas February 18th of 2007.
That was quite a few years ago.
Yep. I've been in Texas 14 years in the same place, same house. Quite a few jobs ago, or companies, but
Yeah, but you're still a truck driver. I mean, that's quite common. Because in the truck driving industry, but now they gave you the opportunity. Like a lot of companies that I know that hire don't give opportunity to people that have a felon, but truck driving does, and it's,
some of them do.
Some of them do, yeah.
Some of them do. And a local company right there in Hamburg is the one that gave me my start with the flatbed.
Who's that?
The Barnes boys.
Oh, yeah.
Bob and Phil Barnes. Love them to death.
Yeah. Everybody talks about them like that.
And I love their sons to death. Their sons are awesome people. I worked for them for 2.5 years. They were who I was with when the rebar or the angle iron went through the truck. When I walked in, I throwed my keys and fuel card on Chip LaCaz's desk. He looked down and looked up at me. He said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, it was actually my 90 days when that happened." I said, "Well, I figured you was going to tell me to gather my shit and go to the house." He said, "Leave the key to the truck," he said, "and pick that card up." He said, "Be back up here Monday morning. I get you paid tomorrow and Friday."
And hey, Chip LaCaz is I know it's a guy.
He's a state trooper now.
He's a state trooper, yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah,
Chip's a state trooper now. He told me straight up he was going to be a state trooper one day. He said, "I'm a dispatcher right now." He said, "But I'm going to be a state trooper one day." He said, "Because I understand both sides of the law there."
He does. He's one of those guys that you know that whenever it gets thrown down there to the, he puts a very precise scale on what goes on. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's move on from that. So you had that thing there, and you started out there, and you had a couple of years experience, and then where did you go to? Who gave you a chance after that? Was it a big company or was it a small company?
Oh yeah, it was a bigger company. I went to PTL out of Murray, Kentucky. That was my first team drive deal with my wife. She had went and got her license and stuff, and we both went up there to drive teams, and that was that was when we got a taste of decent money driving a truck. Because at Buck, they was paying me 26 cents a mile on the hub, and I was still knocking down $1,000 a week and home on the weekends. But that, I mean, after taxes in Arkansas, it'd kill you, you know, even on $1,000. Because you got state tax, federal tax, then I had insurance, all that stuff. Like in Texas, you know, we don't pay state tax out of our wages.
I think you can describe Arkansas by fun cost.
I don't understand why they say Arkansas is a poor state. They're not.
No, Arkansas is not. Arkansas has like a $2 billion surplus right now. I mean, Arkansas, but now Arkansas has to follow a budget, and Arkansas has some pretty strict rules, and we take care of companies and such. But now Arkansas has changed a lot, and Arkansas now is a different state than it was, because Arkansas has made some strides in terms of education. All of what you're describing about investing in people that maybe had never had money just thrown out and invested in them before, got investment by the United States. I go back and I look at you can look at the data. It's across the country. But from 2015 to 2017, this is an example of years. As a recruiter, it was hard to find people in those years because the United States of America invested in trade schools. And I'm talking about driving, plumbers, electricians, not as much carpenters as it should be, but in some. So there was a huge push of investment in those type things during those years. And of course, you know, I'm glad that people were hard to find, because I'm glad to see people in any kind of training. And that goes back, and I know this is kind of a sore topic, but whenever you were incarcerated, what kind of training did you get every day? Did you ever get any kind of thing that would make you better than whenever you were there to help? You talked about your personal goals, but tell me about it.
I worked in maintenance in Texarkana. We was in an old hospital over in Texarkana. And I was in the maintenance department. There. That was my job. And they offered a high pressure boiler program. So I ended up working the boiler there at the old hospital and taking that high pressure boiler program. And I am a certified high pressure boiler operator. 300 plus PSI. Hello?
Well, I mean, that's I'm there. I was going to listen to you. I understand.
But yeah, I actually went to work doing that at Curtin Dixon when I got out, because I was the only. Well, they were out there at Price's lumber company.
Okay.
They were off to the side there. Price was up front there as you pull in, and they was off to the side down back where the boiler was. I don't know what they did in the daytime, because there was fields there where they cut wood, you know. But I worked the boiler at night, and I was the only certified boiler operator they had. So after I got mine, two of the other guys that worked there, they set them up to go get their certification while I was there, because the guy that was over the place, I don't remember his name either. He had a brother named Bobby that owned a truck though. He ran it anyway, and he didn't like the fact that he only had one certified man there, so he got the other two guys certified. But all in all, I've lived a hell of a life, and I don't mind sharing it with anybody, because
it's a great story. And of course, you know, like we talked about a lot in the last hour and a half. Don, you got any final questions for me?
No, I mean, it's like I say, it's just an interesting story, man. I mean, hey, you've had your problems and you've got your goals and you're living your life. What's better than you ask for, man? It may not be exactly what you want, but it's exactly what you got, ain't it?
Yep. It is what it is.
Hey, and I tell you what, we'll have you back. I want to hear more stories. But everybody's got to sign off. I'm sorry right now. So like we got some bad line here or something. But
well, come up with you with a couple of good topics and call me back one day. We'll chop it up like a bad salad.
We are blessed. We are blessed beyond comprehension that you spent the time tonight with us. A couple of hours, a long time. I appreciate your time. And you know, I know and look here. You know what? I think we had a good conversation. We didn't keep it crazy. We kept it real. And I thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. And y'all let me know how it turns out.
Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one. Be safe out there.
All right. Y'all be good.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.